Let's get to the next super chat. Neophyte One, thank you for another super chat. Yahweh seems like a complex deity with both masculine and feminine manifestations. Can you delve a bit into Yahweh's dynamism?
Now, this is a complex deity. That is an understatement. Masculine and feminine manifestations. Well, again, this is complicated because you are dealing with manifestations of the eternal unity in the temporal plurality, and we only have human words to deal with it. So, everything in the eternal state and in the temple that's represented as the Holy of Holies beyond the curtain, everything in the eternal state is one great unity. There is no division, there is no time. And so anything from that state will have all of what is included in the masculine and feminine manifestations that we deal with in the material world. That said, we have the other problem that the mother of the Lord, as this is manifested in the, or as it was, how can I put this, acted out, represented, I think might be a better word to use, in the Jerusalem temple, the mother of the Lord was always the mother of the king. She represented the mother of the king. And so when the king died, one of the king's spouses became the next mother of the Lord. So you have this sort of Oedipal situation where the Lord has a mother and a wife, if you like everyone else does, but the mother is the one eternal figure. And you get this in the book of Revelation, where the mother of the Lord in Revelation 12 is the woman clothed with the sun, and her son gets put on the throne. And yet that same figure comes when the Lord comes from heaven with his great army, and she comes as the bride of the Lamb, and it's the same figure. So you are dealing with a hugely complicated business of how to represent in a material world with time and space and change and decay and language to describe that, how you then represent what is outside time, beyond division, and by definition beyond words. So it's a very difficult thing. There comes a point when you have to just say, well, this is part of the mystery, or this is the mystery.
Who do you think was viewed as Yahweh's mother? Many point to Asherah, the wife of El in the Canaanite religion.
Yeah.
How do you look at that?
Well, first of all, a big spelling mistake. The Asherah who appears in the Hebrew Bible has been put there by the scribes who did the passing on and editing as they went. If you look at the inscriptions that survive, and there's only a few survive, her name was not Asherah, but Ashratah. And Ashratah means either the one who makes you happy, or the one who points you onto the straight path. So she's a guide figure and a guardian figure. She is the mother of the Lord, but she also has other titles. She's called the Queen of Heaven. She is called Holy Wisdom. She's El Shaddai, got many, many names. And what is interesting is that the two great names of the ancient Hebrew mother come through into Greek iconography, the wonderful pictures of Mary in the Orthodox Church. And they have two very important icon styles. One is one of Mary holding the baby and pointing to him, and that's called the icon of Mary who shows the way. That's clearly derived from Ashrata, meaning the lady who points you, keeps you on the straight path or makes you happy. And the other icon style is where Mary is sort of cuddling the baby cheek to cheek, and that is called the compassionate or merciful Mary. And one of the other great titles for the mother was actually the womb. And so Psalm 110 verse 3, I have begotten you from the womb. It is actually, I have begotten you from the great lady, the mother lady. So she's there in many, many forms, but in some places where it would have messed up the poetry and the meter and so forth, you find the scribes have been very, very clever in concealing her. But once you know their methods, you can actually undo them, and you can find the lady in all sorts of amazing ways. Very, very important figure indeed. I think recovering the mother of the original Hebrew temple is one of the great tasks that confronts biblical scholars today. And that way we shall restore some real temple theology.
How do you think that they view the devil, the early Christians? Do they think of the devil as being, in a sense, the brother of Jesus in some way? What do you think of that?
Well, the traditional story is that he was created among the great angels. And when they decided, or the Lord decided, to create the human being as his image, male and female, and because he was to be the image, or because this figure, the Adam figure, I must be careful about gender words here, the Adam figure was to be the image, the Lord commanded all the angels to worship him. And one angel refused to worship and said, I will not worship him because I was created first, and so he should worship me. And Michael the archangel went to him and said, one more chance, otherwise you're out. And he still refused to worship the image of the Lord. And so the devil and his angels were thrown from heaven. This is the vision in Revelation chapter 12, but you find it in other old stories. You find it in the Quran as well. And the devil vowed revenge. And so the first thing he did was put a tree in Eden, which looked exactly like the permitted tree. And then he persuaded the human couple, and the rest of that story is history. But you also find it in the temptations of Jesus in the wilderness, when the devil comes to Jesus as the image of God and says to him, I will give you all the cities in the world if you will worship me. And that's the devil bringing back the old controversy. So we know the early Christians knew this story, even though this story isn't actually in the Bible. And this is how Satan is regarded. Satan in the New Testament certainly is depicted as the dreadful red dragon and so forth. And he symbolizes all sorts of people. But fundamentally, the red dragon is the one who opposes the great lady of the temple and her son, the Messiah. But again, that would take a very, very long time to unpack for you if I did it in detail.